Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little different and I'm pretty excited for it. I busted out all my old stories from middle school and high school, dug through them, and tried to find just a perfect little nugget of cringe for my friend Grog and I to react to. And yeah, I found it. Look at this. Nice and... Thank you for coming through. Let's get into it.
So my name is Grog. I'm actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary for streaming on Twitch. I don't know when this video will go live, but June 2nd for me will be like 1 year to the day. And I stream mostly first-person shooters with like some single-player stuff here and there. I'm really excited to do this today.
Okay, so I've got this box that is full of stories and poems that I wrote when I was younger, and there's some cringy things in there.
I think you mean choice.
Choice, that's what I meant. I wanted to give you a little teaser first. I had these ideas written down on little pieces of paper. They're very weathered and crumpled. You can...
Yeah. It sounds like papyrus.
So a lot of these I would just have a couple sentences or maybe some bullet points for what the story would be, and then I just assumed I would remember everything else about it.
I mean, you've already put more craft into planning your stories than any of the creative writing I did as a kid. So
this one is Chapter 1. Trevor Strint has a boring life. That is all I wrote for it. He had such a boring life that nothing else needed to be written.
That's it. It's like baby shoes for sale, never worn. You know, like sometimes that's all you need. It reminds me, there was so the author H.P. Lovecraft. It was common for people to keep what they called a commonplace book, and like a commonplace book was like kind of a journal, but it was just like a means to just jot down short ideas of sorts. And so like there's a lot of quote unpublished stories, like short stories, based on ideas that he had that were like jotted down into his commonplace book. A buddy of mine in Philadelphia, Mike Bukowski.
I'm sorry, Mike, like from Monsters Inc., the Pixar movie?
No, well, he's a real human. He's not.
Isn't that character's name Mike Bukowski?
Somehow this makes a lot more sense now. No, so Mike Bukowski is an illustrator from Philadelphia. He got started doing like a lot of like illustrations for records and punk labels and hardcore labels and band shirts and stuff like that. But in the last several years, he's been illustrating the entire canon of various horror authors, because a lot of them, you know, like the descriptions exist in text form, but not visual. Like there's not an image that went with them. They were never illustrated. He went through Lovecraft's commonplace book, and like, so all these like disparate little snippets of ideas that he had that weren't ever really fleshed out, he went ahead and like did illustrations of them based on like so like it would be like a bullet point in the commonplace book of like, you know, weathered mummy hand crawls through door or something like that, and then, you know, so he would draw that. It's yeah, pretty rad.
That's awesome.
And he loves drawing monsters with giant dongs.
I didn't know that was a thing ever, but I've got a few very small notebooks, like the 3-inch by 4-inch ones, filled with stuff like that. So it's just a matter of time until I kick the bucket and someone digs through my stuff and goes, well, let's finish this.
Not only let's finish this, but let's draw it and slap a dong on it.
Speaking of those, I have one other idea. 3 bullet points, okay? First one is start with a man drowning.
Okay.
Bullet point 2, he is rescued and told to be more careful.
Sensible.
Bullet point 3, and this is where the story all comes together, and I totally remember where I was going with this. 2 men are diving off the coast of Japan.
That's it.
That's it.
It's like you kind of, yeah, you like loop back to the beginning. What is this meant to... I think of it maybe like, what if it was like sort of Memento, like we're supposed to work backwards. It almost was like an unmetered haiku. You know, a man is drowning. He was told to be more careful. 2 men are diving off the coast of Japan. And scene. You're kind of left searching for the deeper meaning, of which there probably wasn't.
Probably. I just wanted to give a little taste of my writing expertise through the years, and then give you a choice.
Okay, yeah.
So I've got a long story, which I don't know how I would break it up. 70 pages of one single... I didn't know what paragraphs were, I guess. all just one conglomerate of words.
Sure, yeah. It's like, is it like a 120-page paragraph followed by another 20-page paragraph?
Yeah, basically. So I've got The Frozen Shadows, which is in this super nice, you can't see it, but it's in this super nice folder that's duct taped together.
Ooh, love it, love it.
And then I've got, I couldn't find the original one that I wrote, but there was this character that I made called Nightblade, who I thought was super badass. And this is called The Blade of a Forsaken Soul, Contamination, Awakening Earth.
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot, yeah.
A blade of soul contamination. Wait, read that back to me.
The Blade of a Forsaken Soul, Contamination, Awakening Earth, Chapter 1.
It was one of them meant to be like a subtitle?
I don't know.
Or maybe they were two different ideas. Yeah. Like the Blade of a Forsaken Soul, contamination. Like that's like book 1.
And that's in a box. So I put a box around that, and then Awakening Earth. Maybe Awakening Earth is the name of the chapter. Where's chapter 2? Chapter 2 doesn't have a name, so maybe that's not right. The other concerning thing is that this is obviously the first page, because it says chapter 1, and it starts like a story would start, but it says page 3 in the upper right-hand corner.
So you took like the George Lucas approach of like, you didn't start with Star Wars episode 1, you just went straight to 4. So you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to start on page 3 and we're going to leave them wanting. And then in about like 20, 30 years time, we're going to come back and deliver them pages, 1 and 2, and they're going to be fucking blown away.
They're going to be gems, masterpieces. The Nightblade, I know I wrote that based off of, I was really into City of Heroes when I was younger. So it was based a little bit off that, and the name came from, I think Elder Scrolls Oblivion. One of the subclasses they had was Nightblade. So I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Let's do that one. I think we've already dug into it.
Oh god, okay. Nightblade sits at his massive high-tech computer, staring intently at the screen. He stops a second, slowly stands up, and leans in for a better look. His eyes go wide, and in just seconds, he rips his eyes away from the screen, mounts his sword to his back, and runs to the streets.
I love the use of language in that, like, it's very matter of fact. Like, you've painted a scene quite clearly in terms of what's happening. It's just like the way that the phrasing kind of plays out. It's like he rips his eyes.
Everything has to be dramatic.
Whatever he's doing, his hands are like firmly planted on the desk, shoulders square, just like glaring at this computer screen. It makes me think of like Paul Rudd in Wet Hot American Summer, when like he's asked to like pick up the silverware and he's just like, oh, and everything's like really over exaggerated and he's just like flailing his limbs, and like it's like high drama.
From what I remember, there's a lot of drama in here. I haven't read anything past Nightblade sits at his massive high-tech computer, because as soon as I read that, I went, oh.
You've given this character a lot of intensity. I almost get like sort of a Punisher vibe off of him.
I was very into trying to create comic book characters, but I couldn't draw. So I would make the characters for stories either in the City of Heroes character creation thing, or there was this other thing online. It was this free stuff you could make comic book characters, and they had all these pre-generated overlays you could put on top of the silhouettes. It was a super cool thing, and I used that a lot. My camera died, so I'm recording with a webcam right now, and we're continuing. What caught his attention? We'll figure that out. So as he tears down the street at a blinding and stunning speed, he holds his arms in front of his face. A hologram shoots up, and a mini-map of the city pops up. He scans it, and then looks back ahead, continuing on his path. That was all one sentence.
I like that he looks back ahead. He looks back ahead? He turns to look in front, arms.
When I first read he holds his arms, I was like, God damn it, don't have him Naruto running. Please, please.
It'd be great, though, if he was Naruto running in reverse, where he's still running forward, but his arms are just cast in a straight line in front of him.
It's like Superman Naruto running.
It was like
Naruto running,
but in reverse.
I definitely never Naruto ran.
I don't believe you.
What? Why would you not believe me? I also never did, I think it was Rurouni Kenshin. In that one and a lot of other ones like Inuyasha, they would run super fast, so their feet would be like, And I was in high school when I tried that. But I was like, oh my god, I'm so fast! I'm so fast! No one's ever been faster than this!
Surely. If only Olympic athletes realized that the key to running faster was to just aerodynamically thrust your arms behind you and just tap, 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 tap your feet. That's awesome. I do like the theme so far, like all of the sort of like adverbs. It's just like rips, tears. I'm thinking specifically in a comic book where you've got like all of the sound effects are over exemplified with like some sort of background word that's just kind of etched behind the character. Yeah.
I need to be careful because the bottom of the last page is incredibly frayed. Oh my god, am I going to be able to... That's going to be hard to read. All the graphite has rubbed... It's double-sided pages. So all the graphite's rubbed against each other. Oh, there's tape. I found some tape. Part of it's taped together.
As he nears the suspected contaminated area, he starts to notice strange things happening around him. Rocks hover peacefully in the air, and as he walks on the ground, starts to shake softly.
Okay, I seem to have gotten a little confused there. And as he walks on, the ground starts to shake softly.
Oh, there's no way that you can use punctuation or grammar to fix this, but I think because again, knowing the touchstones for like anime and comics and stuff like that, like I almost like my brain is filling in the gaps that sort of like yet to be tempered youthful writing style of just like I'm just gonna blurt everything out, it'll be fine. But like I can picture it. Like I feel like I've seen this scene, before, like in anime, or I've seen this scene before in something. I mean, there's definitely bits in like Akira, where it's like there's just like the little bits and pebbles, for whatever reason, the diffusion of energy in the area or the atmosphere or whatever is just causing like tiny little pebbles and rocks to float, and the ground kind of like trembles. Yeah, so I feel like my brain just fills it in. I'm like, I'm right with you.
I feel like I might be remembering who the villain is.
Is it Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.?
Is it Mike Wazowski?
And lo, on the horizon, a giant eye encased in a green body towers over. Yeah.
Suddenly, massive spikes of stone shoot forth from the ground, nearly ending Nightblade's life in moments. He thinks quickly and dodges the... What the fuck? He thinks quickly and dodges the jumping and running past them.
The spikes. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
They stop, and it's peaceful again. Nightblade looks back just in time to see the spikes dissolve back into the ground.
Dissolve into the ground, like rocks normally do.
Crumble might have been a better...
Just liquefy back into the ground.
They become gaseous.
It just sublimates straight from solid to gas.
As most things do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like at the end of the day, it's easy to look back at stuff like this. Like, I have a story. I was gonna dig it up. Maybe for a future thing, I can reciprocate and like read one that I did. I have a short story somewhere that's like kind of about like post-apocalyptic world ending, sort of last man on Earth. But I feel like what this gets right, we can like say, oh, this is kind of cringy, like I wrote this in high school, or like, oh, look at the grammar, the punctuation, or like, God, what was I thinking with this character? What you can say about it is that it has a very strong visual direction. Like if this were a comic book or a film, maybe it's phrased awkwardly, maybe the wording is a little like clunky, but like visually, it's cool. I mean, it's right up there with a Michael Bay action pick so far.
Michael Bay in Nightblade.
Yeah, exactly. You think about any sort of frenetic, over-the-top action franchise where it's like, you're not going to keep the audience waiting. You're going to fucking start in, we don't know what the terror is yet, but the dude is already at like threat level 11, and he's looking at his computer, and shit's gone sideways, and he's running down the street, and he's checking his hologram, and just as he's, nearing the point of disturbance, these like protrusions of rock just start thrusting out of the ground, and he's like dodging them left and right, and then they kind of dissipate, and now he's like collecting himself.
Dissolve.
Evaporate. Liquefy. It's one of those things where like there is a very strong visual direction. Like I mean, if it were a cartoon or a comic or a movie, everything that feels disjointed about it wouldn't be disjointed, because you figure, like, at least in a comic book or a movie, nothing is ever filmed in real time. You know, if somebody's like, you know, the bomb will detonate in 20 seconds, like over the course of, you know, the next 20 seconds of footage, we're not actually watching it count down from 20 to 0. I think this is great. I think it's fantastic.
Well, thank you. This got wholesome. Hopefully it gets more awkward, though. The funny thing, we haven't even finished the first page.
Oh, wow. All right.
Okay, let's see here. So they dissolved back into the ground.
Nightblade moves on cautiously down the strange street. Strange echoing moans boom down the street as he nears.
Moans. Boom.
They boom. The moans boom down the street.
Oh.
Somebody accidentally forgot to unhook their Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. Okay.
Nightblade readies himself for the worst.
Much like we are.
The ground before starts to take shape into a massive double door with a strange fiery glow to it. He hesitates, but decides to push open the doors. With one tap, they slowly start to open. Nightblade clenches his fists, looks down, and bravely walks through, unknowing of what may lie ahead. He slowly lifts his head and looks around. What he sees shocks and horrifies him.
All right, what do you think he's going to see? That could so trouble our badass hero here.
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a sort of like, you know, Hellboy Goes to Hell, or like, I feel like it's going to be some sort of like demonic, outer dimensional, something that is like some sort of cosmic horror, and or like in the Judeo-Christian, like hell sort of scape that we're typically accustomed to.
Blood rains from the darkened skies above, and bodies pile up like mountains in the distance, and bones line the ground. Every step lets out a cold, chilling snap as the bones beneath his feet break. Hellish monstrosities walk this accursed forsaken land as humans are hunted down relentlessly, chased down until they collapse. Nightblade can't help but look away from the terrifying carnage that lies before him. Mortifying screams and terrible sounds of rending flesh are all too familiar here,
And it echoes through Nightblade's head.
Hold on. For the shock and the horror and the Dante Inferno like rings of hell that he's describing, the use of all too familiar is very troubling, because all too familiar suggests that Nightblade deals with this kind of thing on the regular. He is either the perpetuator and or the participant in some sort of hellish like human hunt / torture / eternal damnation kind of like enterprise. All too familiar makes it seem like he's been acquainted with this before, and maybe he likes it.
I hope that's not the case. Nightblade. I'm gonna use every word that sounds scary here. This place bad.
So the all too familiar
hellscape. Oh, and you know, when I said we weren't even off the first page yet, I guess technically I was wrong, because we were starting on page 3. So
yeah.
Oh my god.
Nightblade holds his head in frustrated despair. What is this place?
He finally speaks.
He says softly while holding back a flood of tears. At that very moment, Nightblade snaps back to reality. A strange luminous aura drifts in front of him. This is what your world of men will be reduced to unless you put a stop to Zypher.
Okay, so that's spelled Zyphear. Zypher? Zyphear.
It says in a mysterious voice, the key to Zyphear's power is... But the voice is cut off short as a terrible growl cuts through.
The key to his power is butts. Interesting.
Packing that oatmeal.
I'm sorry. I just derailed that entirely. Continue.
I think it's derailing itself, to be fair.
This noise startles Nightblade out of his sleep. He springs from his bed and looks for the source of his highly unwelcome disruption. Nightblade spots a dark figure in the corner of the room. "Who are you?" says Nightblade while holding his ground. A strange cackle sounds from the figure. "Well, you are awake now. Good. I have a message from my masters. Don't die,"
says the figure in a small cackling voice.
As he teabags you while you lay prone in the bed. Like, what? Don't die, pleb.
Get good.
We're gonna pub stomp your ass.
Okay, so let's see here. So don't die. He cackles, blah, blah, blah.
It throws a sword forth to Nightblade, then disappears without a sound or a trace. The sword glows with a strange, soft blue aura, and as Nightblade walks over to it slowly, he starts to feel a strange sensation.
It is Sting from the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books. And as he leans down with his big orcish hands, he wonders.
We need Humps in here now to do a Schmeagol voice.
Yeah, exactly.
He could feel the power resonate off of the sword. He slowly reaches for it, and as soon as he makes contact, he sees the strange white aura once again.
I thought the aura was blue.
Oh, it was blue. It was 100% blue.
Continuity.
Use this blade to defeat those who wronged you. Once again, as soon as it finishes, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
What? Is the sword talking?
No, well, I imagine it's just kind of like a booming, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like this is God talking, you know, like this is just a booming voice from somewhere. I wonder though, like the sword seemed like it was cast forth in the instant that the little Cretan dude disappeared. I bring a message from my masters, don't die seemed like ominous, like he serves a group of people and he's giving you this missive like don't die, you bitch. And then instead, I guess really he was there to help Nightblade?
I guess.
So he's really a benevolent like emissary.
I guess he's like a nice little goblin.
He just comes off as like a lecherous little shit, like sitting in the corner of your room, like staring at you while you sleep.
But the name is The Blade of a Forsaken Soul, Contamination, Awakening Earth. So, I don't think this sword's going to be very nice. Okay, what is this? Disappears in a blink of an eye. I don't know what... Does the sword... No, the sword didn't disappear. What disappeared in the blink of an eye? The aura?
Maybe?
Nightblade lifts up the sword and carefully takes it out of its extravagant black leather sheath. A katana.
He whispers softly with a smile.
With a smile.
This pleases us. Okay, I have to kind of fold this because it's on the crease. I folded all of these in half for some dumb reason. So what does this line say?
He examines the magnificent sword. It's a long, silver-colored blade that doesn't appear to be of any metal he is familiar with. Suddenly, he feels something incredibly strange.
How many times do I have to say strange?
Or suddenly.
Yeah.
Some strange thing compelling him to go to a certain part of the city, but he can't figure out why. Seconds later, the alarm sounds. Nightblade rushes over and is startled to find out it's where he just had the feeling to go to.
Oh, it's so bad. I've been trying real hard to find the diamonds in the rough here, but that is
The first page was, I think, the best structured, and then it really, really, really just ran off.
It gives him a feeling of some place, and as we continue talking, it's the place that he's drawn to, thinking of fondly, but suddenly.
And it's all so strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. I love it.
He rushes off as he notices something else. He is moving twice as fast as normal, but with his newfound speed, he finds it hard to keep his balance. He struggles to keep his footing. He notices a crack in the ground ahead, but he can't turn or stop at his current speed. He keeps thinking how to overcome this. It's too far to jump.
And he what? Well, how big is this crack in the ground?
A gaping fissure in the ground.
It's just in the middle of the city.
As he's running, he will not step on any crack in the pavement, lest he get 10 years of bad luck.
He gets an idea, but suddenly trip over a rock and falls on the ground. Well, that works too, I suppose, Nightblade says, struggling to get up.
It's almost like he's aware of his presence in his own story. Oh no, dilemma at hand. Trip over rock. That worked too, suppose.
Me go about business now. Stop! Don't move or I'll kill you, says a man standing on a building in the distance. Nightblade looks at the person. All he can see is a cloaked figure. You took the words out of my mouth, Nightblade says.
1 second. God damn. I had to rub my eyes in a stressed way.
Nightblade says with a wide grin. The person jumps down and lands in front of Nightblade, and they both draw their swords. I guess you freaks aren't as savage as I thought, says the figure. At that moment, he realizes this person is no mutant, but the figure hasn't realized the same about Nightblade and takes swings at him. Nightblade dodges them and tries to reason with the person. Okay, wait, I'm human, stop! The figure ignores him and cuts his arm. Nightblade's eyes go wide with fury!
Wide with fury?
Human or not, you're going to pay, he yells, swinging his sword. Just to let you know, no man can beat me, says Nightblade while still fighting. The figure disappears and wraps his arm around Nightblade's neck, leans in and whispers, fair enough, but I am no man. No, wait, no!
I knew it. This writes itself. It's great.
But I am no man. The woman throws him to the ground and looks away suddenly. I would love to stay and chat, but I have more urgent matters to attend to.
Hasn't she disappeared by this point? It said that she starts to. It says, wait, can you read back the part where she disappears and then wraps her arm around his neck and then whispers? But then it's like, then she's still just like.
I guess I meant like she teleports or something. Like, bzz.
It makes me think that in my mind's eye, she was like fading away to like wispy smoke or something, but then like reforms suddenly and like, oh, and by the way, I forgot one more thing.
BT dubs, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't know. She runs out of view, leaving Nightblade wounded and alone. He gets that strange feeling again. A mutant somewhere in the city. As he gets closer, he starts to hear the woman fighting in the distance. He hides behind a rock and watches her fight, so he dodges every attack the enemy sends with the greatest of ease.
So she basically appeared on a rooftop, said, fuck you, fool, let's throw down, you're gonna die. And then they scuffle briefly. Then she teleports behind him and is like, I am no man. And then leaves, and then immediately starts to fight somewhere else within line of sight, more or less, just like around the corner with some beast. And he's just like, I like that Nightblade went from like, no man can defeat me, and then he's like creeping around a corner just like watching. I'm thinking like that gif like Tim and Eric where it's like the guy behind the plant fern and he's got like the shitty balding hair and he's just like kind of like lurking, like just like creeping. All right, so he's creeping.
As she does a backflip, her hood falls off of her face. My God, oh no! My God, she's beautiful, he says, looking at her, stunned by her beauty. She lifts it back over her face and jumps behind the creature.
It's strange. This is just like when Lauren and I met, you know? Like, I got jumped in an alley. She beat the shit out of me, whispered, I am no man, which, like, you know, turned me on a little bit. And then I rounded the corner and I saw her, like, fighting a demon beast, and she just threw her hood back, and I knew it was meant to be.
I was just foretelling the future, you know? That's all.
She simply taps it on its skull, and it falls with a thud.
With, like, her sword? Does she have... Yeah, she has a sword. I guess just, like, with a finger, just goes boop.
I also imagine maybe she just did it with like a closed fist, like you would a noogie, you know, and just like kind of like the way you'd knock on a door, just like wrapped it once and it fell over.
I really didn't know how to spell sheath. There's not an I in sheath.
Scythe.
She sheathes her sword and calmly walks off. As quietly as he can, Nightblade stands up, follows her. They get further and further into the city. She suddenly stops and looks down. If you were a mutant, then you would already have killed me. You are human, aren't you? Don't answer. If you would like, you could follow me back to my home. Trust me, you'll need it considering that your wound.
And now I can't see anything in the center of this page. It got real clustered.
Yeah, you were sweating and writing with an erection, so it's probably hard to like stay focused. You know what we do to humans? We have our way with them. Come back to my place. Bouncy, bouncy.
Help.
Trust me, you'll need it considering that wound you're carrying. That's the word. As long as you don't talk to me on the way there, that is.
I only want you for your body, not your words.
She says while slowly turning her herd towards Nightblade. He jumps down. Jumps down from where? Jumps down and follows her once again. The further they get, the darker the sky becomes. Strange laughs echo through this place. The familiar feeling of impending doom creeps up on him. Follow me or I'll
Cut out your tongue, she says sharply. What?
Really?
That was a change.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just don't fucking talk to me and we'll be cool.
You better follow me! They reach a large wooden door. She opens it and pushes him in. He looks around to find himself in a dank, eerie room. The lady closes the door, then turns to Nightblade. I'm so sorry about that. Those things over there fear me. If they thought I was going soft, I wouldn't survive, she says
Softly. I don't think I meant for that, but that's hilarious.
I love it. I gotta show a brave face for the monsters. They won't be afraid of me anymore.
It's not enough that I can just tap them on the head and kill them instantly. Oh my god.
She moves over to a cabinet and picks up a loaf of bread and a glass of water. Here you go. It may not be much, but still, we humans have to stay together, right?
A loaf of bread and a glass of water.
I don't remember this city being like post-apocalyptic, but I guess it is.
She hands him a Capri Sun and a string cheese.
What, you don't have any Lunchables in this place?
Oh my god, she says with a motherly smile.
Ew.
Nightblade takes it and stands there. Well, sit down. This will be your home until you get better. She smiles again and sits down next to him. Okay, where are my manners? My name is Eva Black. Of course, you may know me better.
Oh no, God! Oh fucking Christ! I don't want to read this anymore. You may know me better as Shadow Scar. Oh. He looks at her with shock. You're Shadow Scar?
I used to go by the old name Night Rash. Like, I love it's like you're just running out of words for dark things.
Ow.
I've heard stories of you. Eva smiles and nods. Yes, and let me guess. You're the legendary Nightblade, are you not? He smiles and nods. How did you know? She giggles softly and says, lucky guess. Okay, well, if you need me, I'll be in the other room. You can sleep on the couch if you want to. She smiles sweetly and walks off.
That's the end of chapter 1.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Oh no.
That's good.
I didn't like that. Oh, I'm real nervous about the Frozen Shadows one, because that was written like 2 years before I wrote this. So
did you want to do like a series of these?
I think so. I think that'd be fun. Fun in a very loose term. I guess we can. The outro bit can just be like, "Oh, what are your thoughts?" Where do you think this can go from here?
Well, you've clearly set up a romantic angle, which, not knowing how horny you were in high school, really could go either way.
I don't think it bled into the stories.
Oh, okay, that's more telling than maybe you meant it to be. It didn't bleed into the written narrative, so to speak, but the mental escapades of Nightblade and Battles Dark Sky Shadow Scar. Yeah, I mean, so it could go in a love angle, but it doesn't sound like it will, I guess, with that added bit of information. I think I'm interested to know, going forward, who the masters are, who that pervy little goblin dude was that was lurking in your room watching you sleep. Maybe what capabilities the sword has, and also like Zephyr. Yeah, what their deal is. I mean, clearly, I feel like you've got humans and mutants, but there definitely seems to be like something where like the mutants aren't just mutants, like radioactive or X-Men-y or otherwise. Like it's more something hellscapey. I imagine we'll maybe go to hell or like some plane.
I'm gonna disappoint you a little bit. I just looked. Chapter 2 has 5 pages and it ends halfway through it, and there's nothing else.
Oh, cool. All right, awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Maybe one single question will be answered.
All right. Well, I look forward to it.
Good. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, it's one of those things where like you gotta go. You gotta look back at this stuff and laugh. You know, because it's like nobody knew any better. You know, everybody at some point wore some stupid clothing combination or listened to some corny ass thing or wrote something stupid or did a dumb drawing, and it's like, I think if you look back and you're like, ugh, this taints me. This will forever, like, you know, this will be a brand upon my soul.
Shadow above my head.
No, but this is great. I look forward to hearing the rest of it.
I'm definitely not recording this outro 2 weeks later. Thank you for coming through, guys. If you made it this far, please let me know down in the comments below if you like longer videos like this, if you want to see more things of me cringing to stories, because you saw I have a lot of them. Let me know. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you for coming out. I will see you next time. I was going to do a little dance, and then I stopped with the... Editing this video filled me with shame. Have a good one.